Hello. In this lesson, we're going to make a material. We're going to make a new image and a material so that we can paint on it. So first, we're going to come over here. We're in UV edit mode. So way at the top, you see all the tabs that say animation, and we are in UV edit right here. And that gives us then we have our editor, our 3D viewport editor where our 3D stuff is. And then over here on the left side, we have the UV editor window open. And we have two sides here. And then we have our outliner and our properties over on the right. Let's just drag those over there for now. And there we go. Okay, I'm straightening out my screen. Okay, so let's see where it says new. We're going to click the new, and we're going to name it head character image texture. We're just going to say actually head character text for painting. That's good. Okay. Now in the width, I'm going to change it. I'm going to make a pretty good size. 2048 by width, 2048 by 2048. And let's see, what color shall I choose? Okay, I'm going to click on the color, the black, in the color box here, field, and I'm going to go to the right and I'm going to start sliding this guy up, the value, and then I'm going to click circle in the center here and I'm going to pick a color. Let's see. How about this green? That looks cool. Darker, lighter. Let's go like that. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to move my mouse over here and click off and then click new image. So we've made our material in here. Now I'm zooming out, and then I'm going to come over to image right here and go down and save it. Save as. And I'm going to come down here and save it in this folder where I've got my head character stuff, and it's already named. So save as. So now we have to save the image, this image, and then we can come over here. So once we've made this material, we have to take the material. We have to actually, it's not the material, it's the image texture. And we're going to take the image texture, and then we're going to come over on the right side in our properties, and we're going to add it to a material ball right here. And I'm going to hold my cursor and say minus because it's a little bit too large there, my text. And then I'm going to hold my cursor over and click minus right here. Pull it out. Now it's closing my window instead. Okay, we'll just leave that. So we have our material, and we can twirl this down, this little window where it says preview, and there's already a material kind of right there. If you don't have a material, you click the plus. So if you don't see a material and your window looks like this, then you click new or click plus. And then it makes a slot for your new material, then you click new. Then it says material 101. So I'm just going to rename it by clicking and selecting on there. I'm just going to name it head material. Head material, and leave the material on there. It'll be our first one. So now we basically have made a material, and we are going to apply the image. So we come below here, and you see where it says surface. In the surface tab, drop down, twirl it down, and come to this base color. Now, if you click on the base color, you can change it. You can, pull down the value bar or drag it here. And you can move this around or just click right on here. But we're going to just leave it white. And then we're going to click on this little yellow dot right here. Base color yellow dot right there. And then if you notice, there's 4 menus here. We're going to come over here to the texture menu. And we're going to come down and we're going to select image. We're going to add a node to the input of this material. And we're going to get the image texture. We're going to make it an image texture so that we can apply it. So click image texture, and you can make that a little bit bigger so you can see that image texture, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one down. And now what we got was this new text field. We have an open, we have a little folder, it says open, and then we have a plus and a new. And so you could always, we went over and we made a new image over in the UV editor window. But you can do it here too. You can, don't be confused. You can do another one. You can do the same thing, create a new image here. You can go back over where we were at. I like to do it right here. It gets me to remember that I have a little image save as button. And I start making a bunch of different ones and I get a little bit confused. So now that we've created it over here, we can see there's our head character text for painting. It's our text image. Texture. Text for short. Okay, so let's come back over here now to the properties. We are in the material properties down the very ball at the end. And if you don't see that, you might need to make sure you're selecting your character object. Because sometimes if you're on a different object in a different space, you won't see the material. Because right below it, it says texture properties. And so we're going to be going back and forth from material to textures. And we just made a texture. So we're going to open it. And we can go here to our open window and we can search for a texture or an image that we want to use. Or we can click this there right next to the new. There's this little white box with looks like a moon and a mountain. And I think it's just it says browse image to be linked. So we're going to link the image now to this material ball. And I say ball because we're on ball. You can switch it to look at it over here on the right. You can look at it with different forms. And then, okay, so right here, if we click this little arrow coming back down to the base color, we click this, we can see there's the image we made. Head character texture for painting. It's right here, there's the color. So we can just select that. We can pick it there, or we can go in here to open and search for it. And we can search for it here. Either way, it takes a little while to kind of figure out, okay, what do I do where, and where do I add things? Because there's a humongous section on texturing and shading and adding all of these images. And but I'm just going to bring in this image and make a simple image and then start painting on it, because we're going to make a game character and lay out the polygons. We're laying out the UVs for the polys. So let's just click here because we already made it, and there it is. And every other material, every other texture image that we create or import will be in this area, this little folder area right there. And we can see what it looks like right here in this little preview window that we dropped down. And here it is up here. And we can also remove things from the out of this area when we make new ones. We can hit the minus and remove the material slot. But we can make a new one, or we can just come here, and there it is. There's our material, and we can see that the kind of deep yellow green is right there. We named it head. So head material. So we have a material, and then we have a image. And then once we add that, we have some options below here where you can, let's see, let's pull that up so we can see them together. Where'd they go? Oh, okay, so we have some options. But let's apply the material. It's probably applied already, but we don't see it because we are in solid mode. So let's come up here to the solid mode shader, and we're not maybe seeing it on our object yet, and let's go to the drop down menu right there at the right of our shaders, our viewport shading, and we have an option now to come down here because we had put the red on. From here, click on the balls. We chose this one. And now if we come down to where it says texture and we select that material, we're seeing just a little glimpse of it because we can see the yellow. But what we'll really need to do to see it in this view is to select the red ball and choose something like a white, something white. Lighter, and it's still adding an effect, but there we can see it now. And then if we click over here on rendered view, there we can see it in the rendered view. And I wanted to point out something that earlier in our class I showed you. One of my very super favorite exciting things that I finally figured out is that I can render transparent in the viewport render image. And something I noticed today was that when I'm in object mode, and I'm gonna jump off from the material properties, and I'm gonna bop all the way up here to the render properties. I think it's render, yeah. Render properties. This is where we put the transparency on. We came up to the render properties, and then we bopped all the way down all these others to film, and we clicked on transparency. So when I'm in object mode, I noticed, which is the first time I've noticed it, is that if I click transparent off, we don't have the little checker, the slight checkered look that we had in the window. So that tells us that our transparency is on for the viewport render, this render, viewport render image, which I think is so cool because we can go now, we can click on our camera because we set up our little camera. I'm not seeing my box. Well, let's just render it and see what happens. Render image. Yeah, so cool. It's rendering transparent. And I think that's really cool. It took me a while to learn how to do that. And we can zoom in a little bit, stay in our little window. But I'm wondering why I'm not seeing my little box. Well, I'm going to figure that out later. Edit mode, object mode. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on that. Turn the transparency back on. And then let's pop back over. We're in render, the render shading, viewport shading. And let's go back to the viewport shading solid. And we are going to start laying out the polygons. So, yay, let's go back down to, so we're up here in the render properties. Let's pop all the way down to material. Let's get back on that. And I started to say right here, under the surface, we've got, let's pull this out a little bit so we can read that. We've got base color. We added our material here. And we do have a little drop down menu. This is where we got our texture from, where we added it. And now I wanted you to be able to see the metallic and the roughness and the changes in that. So if we turn up the roughness, it kind of smooths out the reflection, and it kind of makes the material texture on the material look really soft. And then we have the metallic, and we're going to maybe see some more changes if we bop back and forth to material preview and clicking the Z key, rendered wireframe and material preview. So you're going to be doing that a lot. So there's the Z key. And then you can play with these settings here, which is really fun. And then there's the metallic, which I've turned all the way up. Yeah. So have fun with that. And then there's a bunch of others, the specular down here. And you can play with it all you want, because we could spend all day doing that. And we will. Okay, so, but we have a material now. Yay! Okay, so we can lay out our polygons and we can start painting. Yeah. But let's start laying out these polygons and make it really simple. And then we're going to go from, instead of going, guess what? We're going to go into texture paint mode. Here we are. I just went into it. And we're going to start painting. Yay! Okay, and undo. And we wouldn't have been able to do that. We wouldn't have been able to do this. But you can see that when I select this whole character, I can't select it because I'm in paint view. But we wouldn't have been able to paint on it if we hadn't have made a texture. So yay, we made a lot of progress. And we made we made a image texture for the material ball to what's the word? It's right over here. It said, what did it say? It said in this little drop down menu, it said link, to link it. So we linked it. So we linked the texture. We linked the material. Cool. So I'm going to write that word down. That's kind of a new one for me. I'm really diving in and studying and learning a lot in here. So in texture paint, we'll get to paint and we'll go over that. But we're going to go back and I'll edit and do that. And I'm really excited about this part because this is all I really want to do. I want to paint. I love to paint, paint, paint. I love to paint, paint, paint with the paint tear pen. Animate tear loves to paint with the paint tear. I just love paint. I love colors. Not that great at it, but I just love to make a big mess with a whole bunch of colors. So we're going to go back to edit mode, and then you can see now our UVs. Selecting this with the A key, holding your cursor over, or select all. We can see. Now, if you can't see them when it's not selected, you need to come over here and turn on your UV sync selection. Click it on, or it will be like, oh, it'll keep disappearing, and you'll be like, why is it doing that? And I like it on. And we do have some different options when it's off right here. But let's turn it on. And we can select part of the character from the select. I'm going to get onto the select circle. And I'm going to get onto, I'm on edges, and I'm going to get onto the, let's see, faces right here. Face select, and now I can select what I want, areas that I want to work on, like so. And I can also resize my selector brush right here in radius. Once I'm on the select circle, see we have the select. As soon as we switch to select box, notice we lose our select circle sizer radius. So you can drag here and you can make it bigger, or drag and scroll and make it smaller. So you're only selecting like that. So I like that. I love the select circle. And then the lasso is just dragging it around the area that you want to select. And it's very important that you understand and learn that if you want to select all the way through your object, especially when we're working with the symmetry and the mirroring with the proportional editing tool that we like so much, we'll just get on that and get on the move tool. We don't have we do have the proportional editing on, but right now this character is not set up for, because we never did that. I did it to some other objects in the last tutorials, but we can do that. We'll do that in a while. So for now, what we're going to do is we're still going to just sit here and talk about the select tool, and we're going to start laying out our UVs. So back up here, we're going to have to toggle X-ray on, and the shortcut is Alt-Z. So while you're editing, you want to Alt-Z back and forth. Alt-Z. Whoops. My caps were on. And then you can select all the way through. You can get to the front view. Look, we can see our camera right through. That's our camera. That's cool. And then now I can get up here on the select with the select box, and I can click down and drag, and I can select, and it'll select all the way through. Yay, woohoo! And sometimes I don't want to do that, so I want to I want to toggle back and forth, Alt Z, and then I can start selecting areas and not worry when I'm editing it to mess up the whole back. See, it stays nice and smooth. So that's really important to do that. And so with your select box tool, you can switch around to these options. The select box, the circle, and there's the shortcuts right there. A lot of people are a little bit fanatical about the keyboard shortcuts, but I'm not. I just sit and take the turns like, I go like crazy. They're like, what? Where? And then I forget all the keyboard shortcuts. Not all of them, but I think I like to just click. Click. So, yeah. So we can get the same polygons selected. And then when we edit them, select the right ear, and then select the two same polygons so we don't have too many, it doesn't get too crazy. And then we can do something like, we can make a cut, clean that up a little bit. But for now, we'll just select this and this one, shift select, and then hit E, and then we can extrude. We'll just go in a little ways like you would an ear. And then get on the scale tool and scale that down. Oh, look, we have our proportional editing on. Isn't that fun? He's starting to look like a little pumpkin head. But I love him already. But if I didn't want to see that, then I could turn off the proportional editing up here, or I could take the size down a little bit so it doesn't, maybe to 5 or 6, so it doesn't pull so far. Whatever you want to do. I love it. So I'm going to edit, undo that last thing. And I'm going to edit, I don't know. I can't decide ever. What do you think? I think I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to do edit, redo. I like that. That looked cute. Okay, so I'm going to leave my guy like that, this guy. And I'm going to make those selections a little bit smaller, I think. But we're going to have to, well, we're going to talk about that in a bit. So let's just make those, well, let's not do that. I'm going to turn off the proportional editing for a second, and then these little ears will get smaller. But I'm going to select them one at a time and make it kind of smaller because it's sunk in. I could see it better. So I'm going to go back and forth from the scale tool to the move tool, and that's S and G. So I can click S on the keyboard. There we go. That's cute. That's cool. And now I'll select this and scale it down and move it a little bit over like that. There we go. And I think I'll move this one a little bit this way. There. And then what we can do is we can just color those ears, and then we'll be able to see them a little better. Well, that's funny. It actually copied the seam, but we can remove the seam from that. We don't need it on there. We can just select the polygons, shift select the others. I keep calling their faces in Blender, and then just say clear seam, UV, clear seam. And there I cleared the seam off the ears from the center of the object, because the seam is going to help us to lay our polygons out. we're going to do a little bit better laying it out so that we can paint. I'm having so much fun, and I'm just having so much fun with you. So, okay. All right. I think that I'm going to wrap up this lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Woohoo!